This is Todd and Herc with another webinar over about Project Supremacy. Any and all questions will be answered, and we're going to go over any and all new things that we have coming up and things of that nature. So this is our second one of the year for PSv3, and like I said, we will be doing these every Tuesday at, well, my time is 2 p.m. Central, so I guess you can do the math and figure out where exactly time you are in the world. But anyway, that is that. And Herc, you were just chatting with me just a second ago, so I know I can hear you well, but welcome to the show.
Yeah, before we get to questions, guys, I'm just going to update you on some of the new things that are coming to Project Supremacy v3. A little bit of a story. Recently, some of my sites that I had hosted on HostGator were hacked, and what ended up happening there is that with HostGator, I was using a bunch of add-on domains under a single account. Now, because those all fell under a single cPanel installation, that virus, that hack, the SQL injection attack, was able to spread to every site on that particular cPanel installation. So in total, it was about 8 sites. Now, I've been dealing with this and trying to clean this up for a long time, but it's a really messy process, and it's not easy to reinstall things. Basically, I would have to go into cPanel for each of these 8 sites and go into the file manager and then replace all the WordPress core files. And then first I'd have to scan the entire directory and get rid of any offending files. If cPanel even had that to begin with, of which HostGator cPanel doesn't have a virus scanner, but we were able to get around that. And then once I found the files that were affecting, I had to delete everything that was being affected. Then I had to go through my uploads content folder, look in there to see if there was any more files that were written on. Oftentimes they were writing to the WP config file and the index.php file, and they were adding injection commands into there. So in order to fix it, I had to reinstall all WP core files, all WordPress plugins, all WordPress themes, and then back up my uploads folder once it was virus free, and then re-upload it. So I was doing that manually for each of 8 sites, and it was very time consuming. And if I missed one single injection line command, it would once again respread itself, and I would have to do that whole process over and over again. So we were working with our guy, Marco Vasic, and he came up with an idea for a nice little add-on for v3 to manually recover your website from a virus attack and do all those processes, but do it in an automated way. So let me give you a quick little version. This is coming soon. Okay, and I'll just play this for you guys to show you what's going on. Okay, and I'll pause this video. So this is coming to each of your plugins. So this won't be inside the app. This will be in the plugin. There'll be a new tab called Rescue Center. And we're going to have 2 different modes, the easy mode for people who don't really know what they're doing and the advanced mode for people who do. But what you'll be able to do is select the core file that you have of WordPress. So if you're running, WordPress, any of these that you can see here, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, whatever, you'll be able to reinstall your WordPress core files. Then it'll scan everything first. It'll scan your plugins. It'll read what your plugins are. It'll read what your themes are. It'll also read what your uploads are. And then it will delete all the viruses from everything. And then it will delete all your plugins, your core files, your themes, and your uploads. It will delete everything and then reinstall everything for you once it's cleaned, and it'll happen automatically. Okay. So that's coming.
Very cool.
Yeah, super cool and super awesome. Yeah. And it's going to save me a bunch of time, and don't post on it later.
Yeah, it's been well, you know what? Man, we deal with hacks all the time too, and you mentioned Marco Vasic, who's been with me for several years now, and I'm sure there's somebody on this call here today that he's helped in the past repair and fix your hack sites, because it just happens. It just happens a lot. And but we hope this will make it easy for you to be able to recover and get back online as quickly as possible, because we all know how extremely stressful it is when you've been hacked and your sites are offline, and it's just yeah, you feel like the world has just come to an end. And trust me, being in the hosting business for as long as I have felt your pain, and I have felt my own pain as well. One of the reasons why I developed a tool called Hacker Spanker, it's not very popular, but I kind of built it for my hosting customers, and it will prevent that SQL injection attack. That's very, very common, and we have ways of defeating that from happening. So I just want to give a little simple plug to that plugin that I developed a few years ago. But you do need some sort of security. I just saw someone mention iThemes Security Pro. I've heard good things and bad things about that. One of the bad things I've heard about it is it conflicts with lots of things. It depends on what your blog is actually doing. But then again, I've also heard that if it doesn't conflict with your site, then it's pretty good. So that is that. But please do use something because some security is better than no security at all. But I also want to say that no security is 100% bulletproof. I've just seen all kinds of hacks throughout my life, and to me, I'm always of the opinion that if somebody wants into your stuff, they can find a way if they're good enough. So, but you can defeat all of the robotic attacks where they randomly go and know that you're running WordPress. They know where your WP login is, and then that's the first thing they look for. And then there's other ways of figuring out what version you're on. And once they know what version you're on, then they know what hacks to get right into those versions. That's the number one way that they do it. They check your site. First they determine you're on WordPress. Second, they determine the version of WordPress. And then if those two match up, if they come back with the two positives they're looking for, then they just bang right in. That's typically how the easy hacks are pulled off. So
I'm just writing this down for you guys. Here's a good line of defense and recovery thing that you guys can do for anything. You want to be preventative first of all, okay? And then once you're preventative, that's good. Then secondly, if you do get hacked, I'll lay this out for you. So number one, back up your sites regularly. Obviously, right? That's PSv3. Keep your sites updated. Obviously, that's WP Core, your themes and your plugins. PSv3 can handle that. Install some security, okay? Plugin, okay, to prevent it. Hacker Spanker, okay, iThemes, security, something like that. Okay. Number 4, okay, if you get hacked, okay, use the rescue. What was it called? I don't even remember.
Rescue Center. You're right. Rescue
Center. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you get hacked, use Rescue Center to scan, clean, and reinstall. And that's going to be PSv3. Okay, guys, that's going to be your best line of defense. Number 1, be proactive. Number 2, if your proactiveness really doesn't work, those first 3 steps, guys, by doing those first 3 steps, you should really be able to avoid getting hacked. Okay, but if you do get hacked, now you have this is what's being developed now to help you recover from that. And then one other side note, I guess I can make it like a 3.A or whatever. Use good hosting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not like me, I'm on HostGator and shit like that, but I mean, even these 3 should help with shitty hosting, but this is another preventative measure you can use. Okay, number 4, use good hosting. If you get hacked, we'll have the Rescue Center for you. David, can you place any WordPress site in a PSv3? Yeah, David, anything that's on WordPress, you can put it into V3. Absolutely anything. It just has to be WordPress because V3 is a WordPress I'm more often than not, I'm finding I'm calling V3 a WordPress manager. I guess for me, the biggest thing with V3 is it helps me manage all my shit, right? But it's not just a WordPress manager, but I mean, the WordPress management aspect of things is just so huge and so awesome in V3 that, you know, it's just a huge feature. Okay. So that's what's coming to V3. Let me just check over. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention, part of our Rescue Center plugin, the other thing that's not shown on here, and that's probably going to be in the Advanced Center, is the other thing it's going to do is it's going to, once it does this setup where it'll scan everything, clean everything, and reinstall everything, the final step that it's going to take is it's going to ask you if you want to change your database password and your cPanel password and your WordPress password as well. Because if you get an SQL injection attack and they manage to decrypt your passwords, or you're using really outdated WordPress versions or stuff, people can still get your passwords. And once they have your password, it doesn't matter how good you are at cleaning things up, they can just log in and do anything you want. So the Rescue Center will actually take those 3 areas that are very sensitive, the passwords of your database, the passwords of your WordPress, and the passwords of your cPanel, and give you the option to change those. And I highly recommend that you should change those. Keith, right here, good hosting, supremacy.hosting. The thing about Supremacy hosting, guys, once again, this is based on Todd's servers, Todd's hosting, Todd's long line of experience with hosting. And the reason that really we decided to launch Supremacy hosting was because with V2 and the other products that we were releasing, we realized a lot of people were submitting support tickets saying that our products didn't work. And what ended up happening was, it wasn't that our products weren't working, it was that there was a conflict between our products and the level of hosting, or the files that hosting company was installing. So they would have outdated, number one, they wouldn't have IonCube installed, okay, for encrypted files. They wouldn't have, updated, oh shit, there's a whole list of things in there. They're just basically old hosting using old shit, and then our shit wouldn't work with it because we only like to work with new stuff, right? Everything wants to be updated. So rather than try and help you guys fix shitty hosting solutions, we're like, well, Todd, just open Supremacy hosting, because everything's going to always be updated on there, and you can be rest assured that Supremacy products will work with Supremacy hosting. And then if anything on the hosting side does break down, we can find it fast and we can fix it fast. And that fixes it for everyone that's on hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to answer Walt's question, and then we'll just go down from there?
Sure. Let me hit that question. Yeah. Walt asked a question about Spider Spanker, so I'll go ahead and address that. I'm getting more and more questions about Spider Spanker a lot lately. What are the pros and cons of using Spider Spanker Pro on your money sites? I heard that all blocking should be done in the htaccess file and keep track of the bad bot actors using the various public sites that monitor the bad bots. Yes, Walt, you can block your bots using htaccess. There are several public sites out there that have lists of bad bots, and I frequent those as well and add them to the default Spider Spanker block list. It comes with hundreds predefined. You can also add as many as you want to it after that. The pros to using Spider Spanker on your money site would be exactly that. To block, the bad bots, the scrapers, the harvesters, people that are maybe stealing your content. There's certain bots out there, like Zeus is a big one that will come and just rip all your content. It will stop that. It also, a big thing is that every time a spider comes to your site and visits it, it's just like a regular human almost, other than the fact that it's going to hit every single page of your site and use up your resources. Now, depending on how frequent they're hitting your site, or how long they're hitting your site, or if they get stuck in a loop and never leave your site, which Baidu, the Baidu spider used to do when they first invented that years ago. That's one of the main reasons Spider Spanker was even developed, was because of that Baidu bot. Baidu and Yandex, when they both came out back in, I don't remember, 2008, 2009, they were just crushing our servers because we had mass sites as well back then. So the cons, I don't see a con at all using Spider Spanker on any site. It's only going to help your sites. The cons to using htaccess is that if you put one period in the wrong place, you're going to break your site. So if you ever decide to go the htaccess route, I highly recommend that you learn how to use File Manager inside of your cPanel and rename it to htaccess.backup or something. Because when, not if you screw up your htaccess file and break your site, it's when, because I've done it many times. And if anybody that's ever messed with htaccess file, unless you're super familiar with it, then you're going to break it. You're going to mess something up. It's so easy to mess that file up. And that's one of the reasons why we developed a plugin, just to make it easy and you don't break anything. And yeah, so I can't think of any cons to using Spider Spanker on any site at any level. And there's nothing wrong with using your htaccess file to block bots either. But just be careful with that htaccess file. And then when you break your site, just be able to rename that back up to the normal name, and you'll be back in action. I hope that answers your question, Walt.
Kevin, is it simpler to rebuild on different hosting? That's actually, here's what's funny about that, Kevin. That's what I did. So HostGator, with those sites that got hacked on HostGator, what I eventually ended up doing is like, and here's why I did this. So I wanted to move it off of HostGator onto my own hosting. And one of the big reasons I wanted to do that is for the cPanel virus scan ability. I have it on my hosting. HostGator doesn't have that. So I would move the site over to my host, create a cPanel for that site, move it over, and then I could scan it and find a lot of the, the files. Problem with that is when I moved the site over, if I didn't clean it fully, so the virus continued to spread itself even though I moved it over. So once we got it moved over, rescanned, cleaned up really good, then everything stopped. But it was such a long and tedious process. It was just a pain in the ass, to be honest, to do it manually, even once I moved it over, because you copy bad files to a new server, then you're still screwed, right? So I could have rebuilt it, but I mean, that's kind of where this rescue, the Project Supremacy V3 rescue idea came up from. It was actually Marco that's like, dude, why don't you just get Brank and the guys to write up a little script that'll do that for you. So, and the funny thing was, is I just mentioned it to them. I didn't tell them to go and build it. I didn't know how long it was going to take. And of course, 2 days later, they're like, hey, here you go, which is always awesome when those guys just absolutely kill it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you place any WP site into PSv3? Yes. Yes, they can be any site. They don't have to be SerpTech sites. They can be any single WordPress site you have. David?
Yeah. Walt, I want to answer this question publicly because we get asked it a lot. It's about footprints again. And the answer is more of a like, okay, you have to understand what a footprint really is to Google, okay? It's a repetitive pattern of things that you're doing that are gaming the system for SEO, okay? And there's no products that we use that are black hat or even gray hat strategies. We're not gaming the system. We're just using really good core fundamentals of SEO throughout our tools. So even if you have Project Supremacy V3 installed on all your PBNs and your money site, Google can see that. They're not going to be like, oh, that's bad. That's an SEO thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bad plugin. We're not doing anything bad. So it's not really a footprint. A footprint is something like SEO hosting, like where it's specifically built for SEOs. That's something that they would look at, or you know, redirecting, like there was like early in my SEO career with PBNs, there was a 404 redirect plugin that it would take every single page that was a 404 and redirect it to the home page. And that kind of, it became known as a bad practice. I did it too, and I never really saw the bad side of things. But you just got to be smart about it. Maybe look at the way I started changing things was you'd go into put a 404 monitor on your site, and then any pages that were coming up continually with a 404, then you could either redirect just that page or rebuild that page and use it. But if you redirect every single page back to the home page from a 404, that starts looking a little bit fishy. Walt, does PSv3 handle proper siloing of your money sites, things like vertical siloed or topical site? Yes and no. No, ultimately no. It doesn't build a silo for you, but I'll show you one of the features that is planned for it. Oh, there's one of my banned pages. It's the wrong site, so. And this one's probably going to take a little bit. And remember, Walt, siloing pages is just how you build. Like, it's just a structure of how you build pages. Like, you know, if you have four main content entities of your site, you know, like green widgets, blue widgets, yellow widgets, you just create categories that all new posts go into that category, or all pages have a parent page of that category. So it's just, siloing is just a building methodology, a linking methodology of your site. So let me show you what we're going to do to help with that. Okay, so you guys know we have the project planner, or a lot of you know. So if I take this and I collapse everything so I'm not looking at data, what this is a representation of every page or post that's on our site, okay? And what we'll end up doing eventually is having the ability to drag and drop the entire page. So like, for instance, if I wanted in, let's see, what's a good example here? Like, okay, buying Bitcoin with PayPal, buying it with debit card, buying it with, you know, credit card. What I can do is take the main buying page, which is right here, okay? And then this is all different methods of buying, okay? Buying with debit card, buying it instantly, buying it with cash, buying it with credit card. What I'll be able to do is take this group and drag it as a subgroup of buying. And all that will really do, okay, is, let me open this up. It'll take this URL, and I'll open the two groups up, okay? So you can see that buying Bitcoins, the URL is how to make money with Bitcoin.net/buying with Bitcoins. I could take this group, drag it under this group, and this URL, okay, would append underneath this URL. Basically, it would, if it was a page, it would make this page a sub page, or it would turn this buying group into the parent, so that the URL would become this. I guess it would add the buying Bitcoins to the start of this. So that's in a page setting. It would make this page a sub of this, or this would become the parent of this. In a post scenario, it would create a post category. Okay, and then if I drag this post under this post, it would apply the correct category. So it helps you build the silo structure faster. So that's coming eventually. But as of right now, all you have to do is just, you can do it in WordPress by default, and I could go into my pages, okay, and assign. So if I went and I looked at my pages and I typed in buying, okay, it would load all the pages that were had to do with buying. Okay, and this is my main buy page. I could do a quick edit of this page and make it a sub, like make the parent of this page the other page. And that's essentially achieving the same thing. So it is coming, Walt, in a much nicer way. You meant with helping to interlinking within your content. No, there's as of right now, I mean, I don't know of a way that it's going to interlink and shit for you. That's all stuff that's done kind of manually within your content, because you have to be choosy about, you know, what you're linking to. The only thing I could say about that right now that PSv3 does help you work with, and I'll open two pages to show you this. If we go back into our projects, okay, I'm gonna open this up. Okay. Remember, once again, let me collapse these all. Okay, so each one of these is a page or post, okay? And then each one of these has a defined set of keywords, okay, that I'm trying to target for this particular page or post. So this mining group has these 5 keywords that I'm trying to target, okay? Now, when I'm on a page, okay, and of course I'm in Divi. This is gonna be a bad example. Let's go to the visual. Oh no, it'll work in Divi. Okay, so when I'm on a page and let's say I want to link from this page over to the mining page, okay, all I have to do is this little thing right here, project keywords. Okay, there's all my same groups. I could go to the mining group. Where is it? There it is. Okay, and then I could choose any one of these keywords. So let's say like I want to add a link to a different page. Okay, and I want to link to my mining group. Now, what anchor text do I want to use? How do I mine Bitcoins? I could add that and it'll say, here's the URL that you're linking to, okay? And then I can insert it and it creates a short code for me. So let me preview those changes and show you what's happening. Oh, I didn't actually create the page, so it's not loading the short code. This is a preview, but this would become a clickable keyword of whatever one I chose here that links to this page. So it creates topical relevance and an internal link that'll help you quickly build those links for the interlinking of the silo. So that's what V3 does have for that. Does that make sense, Will? Okay. Do you see Bradley Barnell, Todd? What's the difference between Spider and Hacker Spanker in more detail, I guess?
Yeah, so Spider Spanker is basically just going to block bots and some other features, but Hacker Spanker is more along the lines of preventing, your sites from getting hacked. There were some times when I thought about combining the two, but I didn't want an overbloated plugin that could, get too big. So I kept them separate, and Hacker Spanker does things like changes your WP admin, WP login page. If anybody hits that page, they get, you can do a couple of different things with them there. It also prevents SQL injections, which is very common. It also prevents XSS attacks, and can also scan your files. It just basically prevents, like I explained in the beginning, about how people find out you're using WordPress, and then they can, run the SQL injection or a couple of other attacks, and it stops them from doing that. Spider Spanker doesn't have that kind of technology inside of it. It's just basically stopping bots from using your resources.
Chuck Yoder, you know how to put the form and to display the reviews, but if it's a service website, for example, a plumber with multiple pages, would it make a difference in Google's eyes if it was a site-wide reviews as opposed to per page? Could I put the aggregate review schema on all pages? Yes. Okay. Number one, yes, you can. You can have. Where did I do this? What's a good example? Okay, for instance, let's start with like a SERP text site. For SERP text sites, I don't even create the, I could do this. There's so much flexibility, so it's almost a hard question to answer. With SERP Tech, what I do, guys, is I create the aggregate review and I fill in the numbers that I want to be displayed on Google, and I make it a site-wide thing, but I do not collect nor display reviews. I just supply the schema so that Google can show the reviews. Okay, so like for instance, I'm gonna give you like a few answers here. Okay, so we have a 4.628 votes, 4.628 votes, 4.628 votes. Every single page of this site has the same aggregate rating schema on it. But if you go to the site, there's no place to collect nor display reviews, nor is there any reviews written. I just supplied aggregate rating data. That's cheating. okay? I'm definitely 100% cheating and putting myself at risk of a spammy structured markup by doing that. Has it affected this site as of yet? No, it hasn't. This site's still ranking extremely well. So that's example one. Next thing I could do if I wanted to make a change to this site is I could actually, instead of supplying the ratings to Google, okay, so let's go back over here for a second. Instead of actually saying, look, I have 28 votes on average out of 4.6, what I could do is turn off the aggregate rating, set these back to 0, install the form so that people could actually leave results or submit reviews, and then start building a real aggregate rating count, okay? A real one, but then still apply it across the entire site. So no matter what page someone's on, if they submit a review and I approve it, it applies that aggregate rating site-wide. Okay, so that's option 2. Now, that's kind of, your aggregate reviews are a little more real that way, but your aggregate rating is kind of falsified because every review that's coming from every page is shown on every page. So you're still not all the way there as far as what Google would like to see. The third and most probably efficient and safe option is to create a form and an aggregate review for each page on your site to which it is relevant. Meaning, like in this site, let's go Bit Club Network Review. Let's leave this page. Okay. So here on my site, How to Make Money with Bitcoin, I have a 4.84 votes. But if you go to this page, okay, you'll see the review collection box and the aggregate rating schema is there. If I scroll down to the bottom, okay, here it is. People that submit reviews on this page, the review only displays for this page. Now, this is the best way to do it. Okay, Mr. Beef Jerky here left a nice review of blah, 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 blah. So it's a shitty review, but the point is, this page has specific aggregate rating review only for this page and only for this product. So I have a product schema on here for Bit Club Network Review and an aggregate rating for that product and for this review. That's the most responsible way to build schema, Chuck. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Sylvie, for a landing page that goes over a SERP tech build, should I add schema? If your landing page, yeah, why not? I mean, if schema is just good, okay? Schema honestly is just good to have on everything. I keep reading more and more articles about how Google's leaning more and more heavily on schema. It's less resource intensive for them to read schema than it is for them to read every page on your site and all the metadata. Ask me why. I don't know the technical aspects of that. But I know Google is just loving schema more and more. So if you have a landing page and you want to put schema on it, I definitely think you should, Sylvie. And you have 2 options with V3 to build that schema. Number 1, if your landing page is built from a WordPress site, just install V3 plugin on your WordPress site, build the schema, and add it to your site. Number 2 option is if your landing page is not a WordPress site, build the schema here anyways. Okay, so for instance, let's go Asbestos Law Pro. Let's say this was your building schema. Let's open this up a bit more. Okay, render the schema that you built, copy that code. Okay, and maybe I'll just do we'll add a little copy button here. Copy the code and then apply it to your header file of your HTML or whatever other type that so you're good, Sylvia. If you're on WordPress anyway, you don't have to worry about it. But this is still good to show for those people that have landing pages or even other full websites that are not on WordPress, okay? If they're on any other CMS or if they're like Squarespace or some other builder, you can still build schema with V3 for those sites. All you have to do is build it, render the code, press Control-C, copy it, and then apply it to that site. So you have that option for both. So it was an unintended benefit, guys, that when we built the schema builder for V3, that you could still build it for other sites that aren't on WordPress. The only advantage to having WordPress is that now when you want to assign, once you build your schema and you want to assign it to your site, okay, so if I go to like how to make, okay, and I go into the site manager for how to make money with Bitcoin, I can go to the schema bit and apply the schema right here with drag and drop rather than copy and paste. Mike, if you have one website and 2 locations, build a different schema for the second location and apply it only to that page. So go to your schema. Okay, go to the site. So like say Asbestos Law Pro had a couple different locations. You would take your local business schema. Okay, you would duplicate it. Okay, now I'll refresh the page. Okay, Asbestos Law. I think it was Asbestos Law Pro that I just did. Anyways, duplicate it, change, load it back up, change the address, and then only apply that changed address to the second page. Does that make sense, Mike? Cool. No problem. Any other questions, guys? It's kind of a good thing that, you know, there's not a ton of questions. It must mean, you know, let me ask you guys, I'll take a little poll here. Okay, I'm going to ask you what your level of understanding of Project Supremacy V3 and all its features are in general. So give me from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't really know how to use it, and a 10 being you're fully confident in using it and all its features. How confident are you guys? So here we got a 7, 6, 7, 5, 7, 5, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 5. So let me ask you guys then. Okay, so it's seeming like we're averaging. People are saying about a 5. I'd say about the averages, which is pretty low. I guess my question to you guys would be, why do you feel you're not that confident in using it yet? Is it matter? Have you watched the videos? Is it a matter of training? Are you using it and trying to understand it? Just give me your opinions on what's going on for all you people that are, you know, 5 and lower, just so I know. Still working through videos. Let me show you guys this. It's not using the schema part yet. Not enough time watching. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's our new logo coming. It's pretty badass. I don't know why that's redirecting. That shouldn't be redirecting. Oh yeah. This, I do know why it's redirecting. Let me show you this right now. I'm glad this happened because I didn't know that was happening. Has anybody, give me a yes or no, has anybody noticed that they're working in V3 and you're working on pages and you're doing any URL changes or something, and all of a sudden your site is redirecting to a new page that you don't know why it's doing and you can't figure it out? Has anybody seen that issue yet? Okay, good. Okay, good. Well, it's going to be fixed right away anyways, but that's not a password, just so you guys know. It's just a token. It changes every 60 seconds. Oh wait, wrong one. WP admin HERE. I'm going to log into the site and show you what's going on. If it does happen to you guys, what we built into the project management feature, So when you're working on sites or whatever, and you have URLs in here, okay, and you're creating URLs, if you change them, it's backwards compatible. This will update your URL on the actual post. So let me actually go over here and show you, for instance. Let's use calculator as an example. Let me close tabs so I stay relevant. Okay, so one of the features we built in is the ability to change your URLs fast. So I'm going to load a second page here. I'm going to go to my pages. Okay, and we're going to look for that calculator page. And I'll show you what we did, why we did it, and the little bit of an issue that we're running into, but how it's going to be fixed. All right. So here you can see the URL of the site, guys. The permalink or the URL is Bitcoin calculator converter. Okay. And then over here, you can see it's Bitcoin calculator converter. Now, if I want to change this URL to something else, okay, we'll just go 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to save that. Okay, because maybe I'm doing SEO for this page and I'm looking at my keywords and I'm like, oh, my URL is not optimized enough. I could just come to this group and change the URL, right? But now my old page's URL is not the same as my new page's. Number one, when I change the URL on the management box, if I refresh this page, okay, you'll see this URL change as well. See how it's 1, 2, 3 now? Okay, so now if I edit from here, I'm going to change it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'll update that page. So I've made 2 changes now, both from different places. Okay, and I go back to my project manager, refresh this page. Okay, I'm going to open my project again. And I'm going to look at the calculator page. Okay, see now it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I mean by backwards compatible. No matter where you make the update, it will save in both places so that it's always in sync. Now that's awesome. But remember, I made 2 changes. Initially, it was just Bitcoin converter. Then I changed it to 1, 2, 3. Then I changed it to 4, 5. Now that means I've done 2 changes. So what we built into V3 is an automatic redirect, a 301 redirect, so that if you change a page URL, it automatically builds a 301 redirect to the new page for you. Now, the reason we did that is, let's say on the original URL, you had built a bunch of links to just Bitcoin calculator converter. You built a bunch of links, but then you change your URL. Now all the links that you built are pointing to the wrong page, right? So what we did to combat that is we built in an automatic, when you change a URL, it creates a 301 redirect. Where you can find that is if you go to manage and manage redirects, okay, you could see right here. Here was our original URL, Bitcoin calculator converter, and it redirected it to the new URL 1, 2, 3. But then I changed it again. We changed 1, 2, 3 to redirect to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a double 301 redirect, but it still works. Okay, so if you guys are making any changes in your URLs and your pages are now redirecting and you can't figure out why, this is why. This is updating everything for you, okay? But a lot of people didn't know where our redirect was built in, okay? So we actually, in the new version of the plugin that we just released, we added it over here. So if you go to SEO settings, okay, and you go to the redirects tab, this is a new tab that's only like 1 day old. Here's a list of all your 301 redirects, okay? And if you don't like anything that's in there that shouldn't be there, you could just multiple select what you want and delete it. Okay, so I'm going to remove, actually, let's do this. Let's show you another thing. So I've done 3 URL redirects already. I'm going to do a third. I'm going to revert back to what we originally had. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to update that. And this is going to add a third redirect. Now, what's happening though, you got to be careful with this and keep your eye on this, guys. What I just created is a 3 deep 301 circular URL redirect. The original page redirects to 1, 2, 3. The 1, 2, 3 page redirects to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the third one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, redirects back to the original page. So what's going to happen when you go to load that page? It won't load. it's now in a 301 redirect loop. You got to be really careful about that. So the way to fix it is if you spot a loop, delete all the redirects. Okay, remove selected redirects. So I just wanted to show that to you guys because that's what happened here when I was trying to load that page. I had a redirect automatic for me, but that I don't need. So, and here it is right here. All features. Okay, I'm redirecting the home page to the all features page. And then instead of deleting them one by one, which is the old way, I was like, okay, we need to be able to bulk delete shit. So I can go to SEO settings, redirects, select everything, and remove all redirects. Okay, I can also create redirects. I can add a new redirect, the old page to whatever new page. Okay, and those are 301 redirects. Really safe, really good for SEO. And the reason now to back up why I was showing you all that goes back to when I asked you the question, how well do you guys understand all the features of PSv3? A lot of you said you're still working through shit. Oh. Stop loading that page. Hang on. Let's make sure I'm in the right. Oh shit, sorry, wrong thing again. Sorry guys, I'm working kind of as I'm doing things here. Okay, so I want to make sure my redirects are deleted. SEO settings, redirects, okay, gone. So now if I go to the home page, it should load properly. It's probably cached. My browser is the worst for caching. It's my browser that's doing this now because I know the redirects are gone. Anyways, the point is, if you guys go to v3.projectsupremacy.com, it's basically that you'll see the same thing. Okay, these videos, guys, we held these 4 webinars to teach you like the main aspects of Project Supremacy, okay? And I honestly implore you guys, every single one of you, to watch at least the first 3 of these. It's gonna teach you so much about Project Supremacy, and there's so many things that are built into it that you probably don't know about, that you should know about. That's also what these training webinars are about, but get caught up, guys, because V3 is such an amazing tool. It's such a good tool. It'll just make you a more efficient WordPress manager, SEO, stuff like that. Watch all the replays too. Like these webinars that we're holding for V3 are so information packed. They cover so many things. So just make sure you're watching that stuff. Okay, let me back up on these questions. Walt, it would be great to see more examples of how you're building out your money sites with PSv3. Walt, I guess I would ask you in that case, because you're asking a big question, how do you build a website? There's got to be something more specific that you're wanting to get out of that, whether it's keyword research or page creation, stuff like that, rather than, how do you build an affiliate site? What one thing is, or 2 things is there that you're finding trouble with when you're building affiliate sites? I do have some examples that I did some live Facebook feeds on my own personal wall. I'll grab those videos and I'll put them on there, but they did show a lot, Walt, about beginners and me building affiliate sites and what's important. But I'll tell you this. Hey, did that finally work? My cache break? No, not yet. I'll tell you this. The most important part about building an affiliate site, Walt, is doing keyword research and understanding what keywords do you want to target and on what posts or pages do you want to target those keywords. And that comes into project management. So when I build a site, guys, the first area I'm going to go is install V3, go to a project manager and load up a project, or create a new project and start doing keyword research and organizing your keywords into different places. Like this site is a small little site for custom stuffed pets that my wife Tennille's making like $500 a month on. But a good affiliate site comes from, good pages that are planned with good keyword research. Okay, and this project planner is just the best way to give yourself a blueprint of your affiliate site. I know the pages that I want to create. I know the keywords that I want to target for each of those pages. And once I know my keywords and my competition and shit like that, I can create really good on-page optimization all on one screen, okay? And the way that I would compare the project planner to V3, with Project Supremacy V3, this is where I go to update any site on my network, okay? I can control every aspect of all my blogs from one place. The project manager allows you to control every page or post of a specific blog, okay? So it's kind of a comparison to the two. This is every page and post on my blog, and the plan and the keywords and the competition and the rankings, okay? It's got everything you need in one spot to do proper keyword research and on-page optimization and rank tracking for your entire site. So really start getting used to using this. Any videos that you can find for Project Planner, watch them and see how, because even V2 had the Project Planner, it wasn't as good, but watch how I choose the keywords and how I build the titles, descriptions, H1s, and URLs. And all this is good optimization practice, okay? And then from there, even when I go to build PBN links to this page, the anchor text that I'm going to use, that's anchor text 1, that's anchor text 2, that's anchor text 3, et cetera, stuff like that. Craig, schema setup seems so different from PSv2. It is. It's V2 is very limited in what schema options you have available to you, and we loaded it onto the plugin. So every time you install V2 onto a site, it's installing our schema options. So it's a bigger plugin because we had to include all the schema types of V2 inside of the plugin. So when you actually upload that plugin to your blog, it's a big plugin. With V3, what we did is since we have so much more schema available to us, so these are all the schema types that you can add. We don't have to load these all onto your site, like the background coding that it takes to have all these schema types available to you. Instead, are on our servers, all you do is build the schema, and the completed schema is what you put on your site. So V3 is a much lighter plugin, much faster plugin than V2 was, and you have a lot more schema available to you. But as far as building schema, it's ultimately the same. You load the schema type that you want. So for instance, if you're going to build local business, you select that schema type, it'll load all the properties that are available in local schema, and you just add the ones that you want, right? And it's still filling out forms, right? So like alternate name, if you want alternate name, you choose it, you fill in the box. This part is very, very similar to V2. Fill in the box, save the schema, and then drag and drop it to the site that you want. So yes, it does. It's a little bit different in its execution. That's just because, V3 is such a different product. V3 is a central app manager. So you build the schema and then use the app manager to assign it to your sites. But as far as filling in the boxes and shit like that, it's the same. V3 is far more, it's got far more schema types. So it's a better builder, to be honest, than V2. Bruce is just saying not enough time. I actually talked to Jeremiah about this because Jeremiah's out there building SerpTech sites like a madman. And I was like, Jeremiah, are you using V3 yet? And he's like, man, I just don't have time to go through and learn it. And his thing is like, and I'm sure a lot of people feel like this. They look at it and they're like, oh my God, it's so big. I just don't have time to dig into that right now, right? And I get it. But here's the thing, guys. If you take the time that it takes to learn at least the features that you need to use it for, so like schema, if you want to learn how to build schema with V3, just take the time that takes to learn how to use it, watch the videos, and even the WordPress manager, because once you got it, you will save so much more time. You know what I mean? Like I'm managing 170 or 180 websites. It's 175 now. And it's so much easier now because I know how to use V3. Right. So it took me a little bit of time we had to build it and I understood it all the way. But for anyone else, it'll take you a little bit of time to learn how to use it. But once you know how to use it, guys, trust me, everything that you do in SEO and WordPress management is going to take you so much less time that in the long run, it's really worth the investment of time to learn how to use the tool because it's that good. I'm biased, of course, but I really do feel like V3 is an amazing tool. I really do. Sylvie says, figuring out all the schema layers, what goes into what is a challenge. So it's kind of simple actually in a way, Sylvia, if you think about it like this, any schema type, okay, like I know what you're talking about. You're like talking about nested schemas, meaning, so like, for instance, how to make money with Bitcoin has a lot of nested schema, okay? And that's why we built this tree like this. Okay, so for instance, if I load, let's go with product actually, okay? I have 2 product schemas in here. Okay, one for BitClub Network. So if and each one of these is a nest of the other. So if I load the lowest one thing, okay, and I only look at what we got and I render that schema, you'll see it's a tiny little snippet of schema, okay? It's just a thing schema, that's it. That's all this is a thing. So now if I go the next level up and go to aggregate rating and I load that schema, okay, and this will make more sense in a second, Sylvie. Okay, and I render that schema, now I'll have 2 schemas in there, okay? I'll have aggregate rating, but now I also have thing, and thing is a nest of aggregate rating because aggregate rating asked me, what are you reviewing? What's the item that you're reviewing? And I said, oh, BitClub Network, okay? And that becomes the thing. So let's go to the top and I'll show you how this nesting really works. Okay, so we're gonna load up product schema. Okay, and actually let's load a fresh one. And this is good for all you affiliate marketers out there. If you wanna build a review for a product on your sites, okay, product schema is a great one to do it with. So let's load product and I'll show you how to know what's nestable and what's not. So as you're building product schema, okay, anything that's a text box, okay, let's go. So you can see additional type is a text box, alternate name is a text box. Those are going to go direct. Another level of schema. So anytime you see like the blue box, right, it's saying, okay, aggregate rating needs to be built in order for you to assign it. It's not just a letter or a number. So product schema, the nested schemas that are part of product schema, you can see are additional property, aggregate rating, okay, brand, okay, needs an organization schema, category, needs a thing schema, okay? So when you're building, if you want brand, okay, what you would have to do is when you get to the point where you're, say you filled in all your boxes and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need a brand schema, okay? Save your schema, go build a brand schema. So then next thing you'd load up is build a brand schema, save the brand, come back here and then assign that brand because it's saying nothing found because I didn't build it yet. Okay, so that's the difference between nested schema and schema that can be injected right away. And that's the proper way to build schema. And to be honest, guys, with the difference between V2 and V3, we have such a far greater understanding of proper schema building. That's why to you guys, it might be more difficult. It's just an education and an understanding thing. We now know that brand needs to be, or brand should be a sub-schema of product. Whereas in V2, we didn't know that, right? So that, hopefully that helps a little bit, Sylvie, does it? With understanding what's nestable and what's not? Did my audio freeze?
Yeah, it just did for like 10 seconds.
Okay, Sylvia, does that help a little bit? You understand the nesting process, but when you start from scratch, you need to figure out what goes into what. But that's kind of what I was showing you. So if you start with a product, what goes into product? Well, if you want aggregate rating, and then award, let's see with award. Well, award, I can put it in right away, right? category. If I want to add category, I have to go build a thing schema. If I want depth, I have to go build a distance schema. Use schema, right? See if it exists. The other thing you can do as well is just use v3. Oh shit, I shouldn't have done it. Okay, and be like, okay, type in the word product, what comes up? Okay, we have individual product, we have music and album, production type, product model, and some products. Just go through each one, load it, and see what the, see if it's the right thing. It also has the description, right? Product, any offered product or service. For example, like,
Perk.
yeah.
For some reason, your audio that's the second time it kind of went out for a few seconds.
Probably just bad network, I would say.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, you guys just tap 1 on the keyboard if my audio starts going out again, and I'll know. Okay, let me get back up here. Sylvia, if you're changing URLs, do you need to do redirects? It's good to do redirects if you're changing URLs if you have backlinks built, because then you don't need to go change all your backlinks to the new URL. You're just 301ing the old URL to the new URL so that all the backlinks you built are still relevant. Mike, can I use PSv3 to build manual 301 redirects? Yes, for sites that moved from an old platform. Yes, as long as your new site is on WordPress. Like, I'm not sure I fully understand, but you can build any 301 you want with V3 if you go to SEO settings and redirects, and then just add a new redirect. So your old URL and format to the new URL. So let's say, for example, your old URL was on the old site was like, plumbers.html. Okay. You'd have to add the right extensions and stuff from your old one. Okay. And now what's your new URL? It would just be like maybe plumbers, because now you're on WordPress, and then click OK. Right. And there's your plumbers.html now redirects to just plumbers. David, I'm going to just read the last after question. How much do you recommend to offer setting up aggregate schema for a prospective client? I never give a number on these questions, David. I never tell people, what's the right or wrong amount to charge. That's totally up to you. I mean, I don't even know how to say it. What's your time and expertise and tools worth to a customer? What are you comfortable selling at? Are you a good salesman? Is this person, some random business you don't know about, or is it a friend that you care about? The pricing options, guys, I really can't tell you what price you should charge for things. Schema, I know this. I know that most clients of yours probably don't even know what schema is, right? So if you go and say, listen, do you want star reviews in Google? They're going to definitely say yes. So you'll show them the benefit of what you're going to build. And then you can decide on a price from there. If you want to charge, hourly for how long it takes you to build the schema for the site, that's one way to do it. And then add a little bit of a per diem on the fact that you have a tool cost to cover It's just really an impossible question to answer. It's really up to you. Bruce, where do I see and find schema templates to copy and save for future use? We have like a very, very small schema template right now, but everything's in schemas, Bruce. Okay. Right here, the templates button, we have only a local business template. And the reason why is you can save any type of schema. Like you can go build something and then save it for later on if you wanted to and create your own templates. So the only template we have is local business. So, but maybe we'll add a few more. I can add like the product one, because I know a lot of people like how I review products on this site and they want to build that. But the easiest way, guys, is still like what I said. If you know it's product schema, just open up the product schema and start building. And remember, it's always this. People are like, what should I fill in and what should I not? The answer is fill in whatever you want and whatever you understand first, and don't fill in the rest until you understand it. So like, for instance, award, if you don't know what it is or don't want to use it, don't. But things like, description is great. And then logo, if you have a logo URL, put the logo URL to it. The name of the item, put that in there. Build the things that you know and understand first, because at least you're getting some schema on there. And then for things that you don't understand, maybe once you come to understand them, you'll get better at it, okay? So just my quick answer is start with the things that you just absolutely understand and know. The other thing I want to show you guys, because I know so when we load up product schema, there's literally 30 or 40 elements of product schema that are available to you to use. And as you start building, it can start getting messy. So we built something, so let me show it to you. Okay, so when I load up the product schema for BitClub Network product on my site, you can see I've only used a few things, right? A lot of it is still blank, and I don't know if you can see it, it's very light, but anything that's not used has a gray bar running through it. But if you want to be really quick and see what are the things I have used and not used, this button right here, show and hide empty properties. So if I click this will hide anything that I haven't used and only show what I have used. Okay, and that'll be good for you guys too, to go through and be like, okay, what schema do I have? Okay, well, what else do I want? Maybe I'm getting better at schema, or I'm understanding more. I can open it back up and be like, okay, now I want to add additional type, or I want to add additional property. So it's very, very helpful that way. Craig, he said, can we have another webinar on PSv3 and SerpTech? What I would do, Craig, is log into your SerpTech members area and load up the SerpTech webinars that we already covered on PSv3 schema, because we've already done it. So rather than do it again, I'd rather just point you where you can watch what we've already done. So my audio still good, guys? Just double checking here. Thanks, Nat. David, there is no schema for, oh, that's a backup that just got executed to my Dropbox, guys, from V3. Cool. I love when that happens when I'm on the webinar. There is no schema for projects, like for pool builders. How do you correctly add those? Install project schemas. David, do you mean pool builder schema type? So I would, contractors. So the first thing I would do is type in pool and see what type, and the only type that comes up is public swimming pool. That's obviously not what you need, okay? The next thing you're saying is contractors. Okay, I would see if there's a contractor. So we have a general contractor and a roofing contractor. If that can make it work for you, you want to load general contractor. Okay, so let's load that up. Okay, and you could turn that into a pool builder. Fine. but if it's not specific enough for you, the next level down would be either organization, okay, right here, organization, or local business. And then you just tell it that it's a pool builder, right? You use brand, and that helped. I use brands for, like for instance, on Supremacy Digital, here's a good example. I haven't built schema for this yet, right? So for Supremacy Digital, this is 100% a brand, right? So I would build a brand schema for this site. The other place that I use brand is on How to Make Money with Bitcoin is an affiliate site. But when I'm reviewing a product, I use product schema, but as part of the product, I also include the brand of USI Tech, which is the product that I'm reviewing. So I use it in different ways in that regard. But the top level schema that I'm using is product. And then they're saying, is there a brand associated to this product? And I say yes. And the brand is now USI Tech Review, but the brand is part of the product. Whereas in Supremacy Digital, the brand is Supremacy Digital, right? So there's lots of creative ways. One thing I'll say about this, guys, about schema, I am not a schema pro in that I can tell you what the best type of schema to use on every page of your site is. Terry Samuels is awesome at stuff like that, but he sticks to what, you know, his clients are. This is something that we're all going to have to learn together. Like, what's the best type of schema to use in every situation? As far as I know right now, guys, is if I use the specifics, I use the search. Okay, like if I'm looking for a hairdresser, I type in hair. There's hair salon. I try to be most specific at first, and if the most specific instant isn't quite what I need or what I want it to be, I start backing off from there. So if hair salon is like not what I want, from there it's organization or local business, okay? And I tell it that it's a hair salon in that situation. Timothy, do you have an advanced schema training that covers the optimal way to configure each of the main schema attributes? Our issues out here it makes sense when you're running through it in the webinar, but you have the big picture in your head and built the system. Without reading the rest of it, Timothy, more than me having it in my head and we built the system, number one, I'll tell you this, we didn't build schema, this system as much as you think we did. Our coding team, we said, look, we want every type of schema that's available. And they went and scoured the web to find a big, like a GitHub of all the schema types that are available. All we wanted to do was provide you guys with all the options, right? From there, like I said, it's just kind of what I said earlier, learning what the best schema types are is kind of an art form, and it's different for every single person. So I could never have one webinar and teach you, you know, what are the best schema types to use here and there, because every site is different and there's so much schema. You kind of have to just do what I said, is start specific and move backwards generally from there. All you really have to know how to do is use the tool. That's our job, is to teach you how to use the tool, right? And we'll do as much as we can to help you with choosing schema, of course, but our main function and objective here, guys, is to show you how to use the tool to build schema. From there, it's like, we can't teach you how to paint, but we can give you a paintbrush. You know what I mean? Let me read the rest of your question. We want to know what you know to say, take a service business, define it by its brand, service type, services, service area, etc. Make like a case study for service business. This is a long question. Sorry, Tim. We know we want to build schema, but we don't know what to build it optimally. We need a best practice. You know what? The rest of your question is the same answer. It's starting very specific in the search, okay, and then generalizing from there. The other thing, guys, is read, right? Read these things. We put these there for a reason. Like this is more on execution of how to build. Once again, it's not the art of building schema. It's not how to paint. It's how to use your paintbrush. It's not how to draw a nice picture. But once again, start really general, Tim, or start very specific and back off from there. No, Sylvie, I don't. To your SerpTech question. This isn't a SerpTech webinar, by the way, guys, so we're not going to really delve into SerpTech stuff. This is specifically for V3. I'm going to, me and Terry Samuels have talked a lot about him coming on and doing more training in schema, because he's more artful in building schema than probably what I am. At least I think he is, from what I've seen. He might agree to come on and start doing a training of schema. He really did love V2 schema, but then again, you have to understand Terry's doing client SEO, and a lot of client SEO schema is simply local business or organization. And we had that in V2, right? And so now he's learning V3, and his options are probably opening up, but hopefully we can get Terry onto some webbies. David, but they have installed many different pools in many different cities. Once again, same thing, David. If it's a location issue, page per location and location specific schema on each page. It's a lot more work, I guess, but it's how far do you want to go with things? Like, you know, do you want to have an address of every, like, do you have a page for every pool that's on there? You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know what your website is or what you're talking about just from reading your questions, but if it's like a contractor that has pools, or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Offices in many different locations to help people fix pools all over Arizona, for instance, you definitely need a location per page, and then update your schema from that. I think that's where you're going. Yeah, Natalie Dixon says mind map and narrow it down regarding schema. It comes from a biz design mindset. Remember, think of it like this too, guys. Like what Natalie's saying is a good point. Your website is a blueprint, right? And it has different pages that deal with different topics. So your schema is kind of, think of schema as an explanation to Google about what that particular page is about, right? And if you only want to do site-wide schema, then you're really limiting yourself, to be honest. Like, but if you have a small 3-page website that's about your cleaning company or your grass cutting company, then just put a local business schema on your homepage and call it a day, right? But as your website gets bigger, that means you have more opportunities to explain to Google, what is this page about, and what is the content that you know I'm trying to get across on this page, and build a schema for it. Tim said, you know, I know that your tool is awesome, but some of the ways to get your art for doing the pool service things that are not obvious. I mean, I don't know what to tell you there, Tim, honestly. Like it's a really hard thing, guys. Like, I can't tell you what's the best type of schema to use for your website, other than by saying, if your website's about pool builders, come here and type in pool. And if this isn't what you want, the next level to go to is organization or local business, right? Like, you always have to start specific and back off. And guys, there's other resources out there as well that'll teach you about schema, you know, the best ways to use it and the artful ways to use it. Use Google, use those resources, right? This tool here, guys, is just to help you build schema. But what I think what a lot of you guys want is, what is the type of schema that I should use? And that's hopefully where Terry will come in. But for now, guys, if you don't know what type of schema to be used, you should be doing research using this little search engine right here, right? Help yourselves to information that's plentifully available. And then once you have a bit of an understanding of what it is that you need, come back here and use the tool that you have to build it, right? Kevin says a poor schema is better than no schema, so it's best just to create one and start refining it later. And I 100% agree with that. Start using it, guys, because if you never use it, nothing will ever happen. And if you start using it and screw it up, then the learning process has finally begun, which is good, right? Like, I didn't even know what the word schema was 2 years ago, right? So if I learned, you can learn.
Type in professional service. That is also something that would be used in terms of like a pool builder. It's a professional service.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys really want to know, where can I say pool builder? See, every schema has a description typically.
Here's this. I'm going to go ahead and drop something in your chat right now. Some resource. It's a link. Maybe you guys can find it useful. It's coming right now. Check that out, and that might give you some ideas. Like if you scroll, like search pool, search that page for pool. Yeah. So as you can see there, there's not really an exact, because this doesn't. Because what I'm trying to say is that some schemas are starting to develop like in house. They're from the schema database yet. So kind of get defaulted to other things. Like you can see plumbers there, but not pool builder. This is probably not an exact complete list, but there's a lot of services there.
Yeah, the thing I like about this tool is that it's suggesting to you, it's being a bit suggestive. Okay, pool cleaning service, maybe you should think about using professional service.
Mm-hmm.
Podiatrist, okay, well maybe you should think about using physician.
Mm-hmm.
Plywood supplier, well maybe you should think about using store. So I like the suggestive nature of this list.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great share. You guys should definitely and use your control F function. Like if I type in hair, there's 5 entries here. Waxing hair removal service. Oh, health and beauty business is the type of schema you should use for your waxing hair removal service. That's a good list. So I could do it here. Hair salon. Health and business, beauty. So let's go back. Health and beauty business. That's an awesome list. This should help a lot of you guys with the one thing that I'm struggling to convey to you guys. This is basically the answer to that.
Put that on your notepad, or we'll either share this document. Probably a good share for the group. Hey, I'm gonna have to go run for a few minutes.
Yeah, no worries. Bruce,
school's almost out.
Yeah, go ahead. That's cool. I'll stay on for another half an hour here because questions are still coming in. So.
Okay.
Bruce says that was a great comment. Schema is an explanation to Google what each page is about. That's the best way to visualize it. Yep, I agree. I agree with what you said, agreeing with me. Okay, see you, Bruce. Sylvie, in the project manager, can we update the keyword competitive metrics? Yes, you can. Let's go into a project. So in your project manager on any of your sites, when you load the project, okay, if you want to refresh these metrics, you just would click whatever keywords that you want to be refreshed. So in this instance, I see a couple zeros in here. You could click those. The alternative is you could just click everything and refresh everything. And then you go to your little actions lightning bolt, okay, and you retrieve keyword data. And the data is going to be your broad phrase in title in URL, or you can retrieve your keyword volume in CPC. And that's going to be your volume in your CPC. So retrieve data. Okay, and then you'll see all those refresh. And then it runs through our internal proxy list and stuff like that now. Instead of everyone supplying their own, we actually have a proxy list that we run it through ourselves and then retrieve volume in CPC. Oh, you mean the parameters that make the cells pink or green? Yep, you can do that too. Holy shit, look at Bitcoin's going crazy. Okay, so the green, yellow, and red stuff, guys, is called conditional formatting, okay? And we have 2 default conditional formatting settings, okay? And that's found here if you go to manage and then conditional formatting, okay? We have affiliate marketing, because obviously affiliate marketing is more challenging. And then we have local marketing, which is less challenging. So we reduce the values for local marketing because it's easier to rank in local than it is in affiliate. So we have those 2 by default, okay, affiliate and local. However, if you're really good with these numbers and you'd like to supply your own, then you can go in and create your own conditional formatting metrics by putting in, all you have to do is type in, here, let's do this. So select the bar, okay, and that sets it to 0. And then I'll say, you know, red below, what are we on? Search volume. So anything that's below 1,000, let's make it super competitive, okay? This is my high competitor shit. Anything that's below 5,000 is no good, and anything that's above 10,000 is awesome. And then the in-betweens fill in themselves, okay? And then cost per click, anything that's below $5 is no good to me, but anything that's above $10 is super awesome, okay? And then broad results, anything that's above, we're being super competitive here, so let's say 5 million is going to be red, and then anything that's below 2 million is going to be green, and anything in between is going to be those colors. And then you go on and so forth. Then I would do 5 million down to 500,000 and 200,000. Okay, and then in title would be 50,000. Well, I'm still at 5,000. Oh no, 50,000 and 50,000. Okay, and then in URL would be 50,000 and 200. I think I did those right, so let me check. 500. Okay, those are good, 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 okay. And then I would click Save Template, and it would be name, and I call it Super Comp or Super Competitive, okay, and then I click OK. All right, so my template is now saved. Now, if I wanted to load, redo these colors based on a different template, I could go Super Competitive. Now shit's gonna turn super red, and then I click Apply Template. Okay. And then if I refresh the page, it'll reapply the template everywhere. So we're getting a lot more reds now. If I wanted to get really, really green in here, I would change this to local. Is there somewhere we can find these metrics? No, these are created for you or by you. For you would be the local and the affiliate, and by you would be anything that you did on default. Tim, you're pretty versed in schema. The question is specifically that you seem to be saying that there was a place to put a pool service type. Sure, we can put it in the description. I felt you were expressing a method to define the non-provided types. With V3, I do it manually and use schema app. I was looking for your process to define the missing types, like pool contractors. So if it's not there, Tim, then we don't have it in yet. That means we just have to go and update our database, right? Is that kind of where you're going? Yeah, you know what, just contact, I hate to say contact Terry because I don't want to say like he's going to be available, or I know he runs a big agency and he's a busy guy, but he's also an awesome guy. But the other thing too, Tim, use the group, use the Project Supremacy group. I don't know if this is you. All right, guys, use the things that are available to you. This group's awesome for it. Sylvie, back to you. Did that help at all? What I showed you there with the conditional formatting? And okay, awesome. Any other questions at all, guys? About anything at all? We got like 25 more minutes, but if there's no questions, whatever. You know what's one other thing I'll tell you guys that that we're going to put in here. Let me show you something just so you guys know how this whole thing gets developed and how ideas come about and what gets fixed and what's ideas. So this is Trello. This is our PSv3. So any new features that we want. So we basically divide up Project Supremacy into two pieces. One is the panel, right? Or the app, okay? This is the place where you go to have an overview of everything that's going on, and you can execute anything on any blog from one spot, okay? But that's the main place. And then there's also the plugin, because the plugin has a few features of its own, right? So we divide it up into two. So we have panel features and plugin features, and these are all the sections of the panel, and then these are the check boxes of things that are getting done or being worked on and shit like that. So this is all the feature side, and then these two are for bugs that we find. Let me get my brain working again as to why I'm even showing you this. Oh yeah, the new features. These are the idea box. So on the last webinar, we had a couple of really cool ideas. So they go into the idea box until they get moved into the working system. But what I was going to show you guys, one of the things that I want, and a lot of ideas for me specifically, guys, come from using the plugin and saying, oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that, but I can't. When I'm building a new website, for instance, when I set up a new website, I install WordPress. The first plugin that goes on is V3, right? And I activate V3. Then when I want to put in more plugins, I go inside the direct admin login for that site. Whoops, not the direct admin login. I go to the manage side of the website, right? And then I'm like, okay, V3 plugins there, but I need a bunch of other plugins. So this would all be empty, right? So I'll go to add new plugin, and I'll go to my plugins because I have a storage of plugins, right, that I want to use. And I'll add this one, this one, this one, this one, and I upload it. And it's really fast, right? But there's a better way, and what's going to come is we're going to do groups, plugin groups. So if I go, oh shit, I just got booted here. 1 second, I have to log in. Okay, so here's the list of plugin storage. So for you guys, anyone that has like a lot of plugins that they use on a lot of websites, you can actually upload that plugin here in your like little storage locker. Okay, so that you can upload it to your other sites really, really fast for later on, or even themes. Like I should basically have Aveda and Thrive themes in here because I'll use those themes a lot, and I could just upload them from the panel and have them stored in here. So it's just an organization thing. But what we're going to build next is groups. So for instance, if I have a money site, I might have like a specific set of 5 plugins that I always want. So what we're going to do is start creating plugin groups where I'll select the 5 plugins that I want to use, call it money site group, so that when I go to launch a new website, okay, and then the first plugin I install is PSv3, and then I want to go load my plugins, instead of ticking, the 5 boxes, I keep going to the wrong area, manage website. What I'll do is I'll go to plugins, add new plugin, and then I'll load the group, and it's 1 tick, and those 5 plugins for that type will go in. So that's something that's going to come. And the reason I showed you all this is like that'll get added as an idea box. So like plugin groups. And then once the guys, like you can see stuff that's being worked on, in progress, postponed, finished. You can see these little check boxes of things that are finished. Once, let me rename this because this is actually going in here. Okay, once they're getting down and they need things to do, that's when it'll move from the idea box into the active working system, right? So like, and that is in, that particular one is in settings. So I would go to my Trello, and you guys probably don't give a shit about how we work Trello, but I don't know, I'll just show it to you so you know what's going on. So settings, and there it is, plugins and themes. I would add an item. So this is where I'd add my idea box, create plugin groups, and then I add it and it becomes a check mark. And then when it gets done, it's done. Just interesting to show you guys this shit. It's just how we keep developing our software, very, very organized. Yeah, right, the Facebook group link. I'll send it to the entire audience. There you go. And I'll send it to you privately as well. There you go. Kevin, am I right saying that schema is evolving? Many types of schema for business types don't exist yet, and there's no Bible or master database, and even Google is learning. Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Absolutely. Schema's growing. The official site, guys, for schema, if you really want to know what schema types are out there, is schema.org. This is the official granddaddy, real deal schema type. So if there's anything that you want to know if it actually is in existence, in use, schema.org. I'll put this link in here for you too. This is where you can come and look for it. So these are the actual schema types for the word pool. So you can see public, it's kind of some shit's weird, but yeah, this is your actual schemas, guys. Definitely use schema.org. Go browse around in it. It's super interesting and like all the shit that you can see in like the types of schema. Sylvie, topic suggestion for next week. I'd love to hear your take on SEO progression in 2017 and 2018. You know what, Sylvie? Funny you mentioned that. I don't, in the way that I do SEO, like I know like things are always, there's always people providing like new strategies or this or that. The way I've approached SEO my whole career has been very like just like fundamentally solid, I think. Like I don't need a lot of tricks. Build a good site, meaning do good keyword research, good page organization and optimization, and point some good PBN backlinks to it, and it always works. It always has for me. I've never really had to go do super tricky shit. And one thing I learned really early on in my career that somebody gave me a piece of advice, and it always stuck with me that has truly, truly helped, is don't create problems or don't deal with problems until they exist. Meaning, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, like that line of thinking. What I've been doing is still working. So I don't really do too much educational SEO research right now. I will when things stop working, then I'll go find out, okay, why is this not working anymore? But as of right now, it's just core fundamental SEO that works. Keith, do you have any YouTube or other videos? Yeah, for schema, if you go to YouTube, okay, you can search for the Project Supremacy channel. Okay, so there it is. And then videos. And then you could just search for schema. And a lot of these are like when we release V2, but just search through the videos that we have and you'll see there's a lot of video content on YouTube for how we do schema. Let's see, where's the filter? Sort by relevance. The other thing is in the V2 members area, there's some schema videos. Keith, I don't know if you still have access to that. That's really, guys, all this stuff like can be found on YouTube and shit like that, but that's why we're also building Supremacy Digital. You know what I mean? Because we need to have more, like, it's just gotten so big and so many products and so many places to go do things. Like if you really think about it, everything we're building consolidates everything else, right? V3 was built to consolidate all your blogs into one spot. The project planner was built to consolidate all your pages and posts into one spot. Supremacy Digital was built to consolidate all our products and training into one spot, and that just, I don't know, that seems to be our mojo. Keith, the other thing I want to mention too is on my page, I'll see if I can find it and send you guys the link. I did a couple live videos on specifically plugin on keyword research and shit like that. How do I search on Herc Magnus? I'm not really sure how to search for the live feeds that I did, maybe videos. If anybody knows, let me know. A bunch of weird shit on there, me playing guitar. I don't know, just go through my feed. It's been in the last like 2 or 3 months. I did a couple live feeds on it was kind of targeted at anybody that wanted to get into SEO and how Project Supremacy V3 can help them do that. And I covered like keyword research strategies using V3. And maybe I'll do that again in more depth next week on the webinar. We can go through, it was actually on cuddle phones that I did it. And I'll go through it again with you guys next week, because it's such an awesome process and it works so well. Oops, wrong site, not cuddle phones. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? Give me a 1, please, if you can. Just checking. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Ray, it's on my Facebook feed somewhere for that video. What do you call that shit? Live? It's live stuff. I don't know how you can search it. If anybody knows, it'd be awesome. I don't remember where it was, and I do a bunch of Bitcoin posts and shit like that, so you're gonna have to scroll through all that shit to find it. I'll go find it and I'll post a link to it later on. Control F, yeah. Except it's lazy loading on Facebook, so Control F doesn't always work. See how it's lazy loading? I need to SEO optimize my Facebook Live videos. Yeah, I know. It's funny. Any more questions about anything in particular, guys? I'll give you guys a few minutes while I look for this video. Oh, that was my happy Christmas card that I was sending to people. Funny. Where is it? Kevin, what's your approach for using high authority expired domains for PBNs? Do you rebuild with archive.org content or build WP in the same vein? What I do is I'll keep it in the same topic from archive.org. So if say I'm researching a PBN and I'm liking the metrics and shit like that, I'll use the Wayback Machine. First of all, to research what it was. Okay, so let's look at a site, for instance. So like 256b.com. Okay, it was a site I picked up years and years ago. And this was before I was ever using shit for PBNs. I was actually doing spelling mistake SEO, like typos, and I'd fill a website full of typos and I'd rank on Google. And then I 301 them through the affiliate link, and it made a ton of money. But then Google introduced their spelling suggest, so that kind of went away. Why is this so slow? Okay, so what I'll do when I find a domain that I like, okay, and if all the metrics are good and everything is good, and what I particularly look for in Wayback Machine is good, what I'll do is I'll take the oldest screenshot of what it was. Like typically what I look for is that it hasn't really changed hands too many times. Like TaxGaga didn't turn from, you know, an old tax site into a, you know, PBN, and then into a porn site, and then into a 301 redirect. Like I look for something that's just always been there and it's kind of always been the same. And then what I'll do once I go to rebuild the site is I'll take a look at what it was really, really early on, and I'll rebuild it just the content and not the content, sorry, the description and the title, but then I just put my own WordPress site on it. But I keep that element, like if it was, so TaxGag, it was a tax site, I kept it a tax site, but I installed WordPress on it. I didn't grab any of the old Wayback content or anything like that. I didn't recreate any of the old pages. If I was to recreate pages, I wouldn't do it from Wayback Machine. I would actually run TaxGaga through like Ahrefs or Moz and look at all the old pages that were still indexed that had good data. And those pages I would recreate and put my own content on them just because it gives me more opportunity and real estate to backlink from. That's pretty much it. The other thing I'll show you guys, if you go to hercmagnus.com, there's a couple of videos that I did shoot. It was a 3-video series and I never shot the 3rd video. But if you look for, what was the post? SEO, go to ranking strategy, off-page optimization. Okay, these ones right here, I'll put this link into. Video 1 and video 2 is all I ever shot. It talks all about my PBN domain research. So let me give this to you guys. And I never shot the 3rd video, but these 2 videos are my PBN research phase or process, and they're really good. There's still, I think, really good info in there that you guys should learn from. Natalie, just want to say thanks. They think I'm an SEO expert now. I nearly got banned from a program because of this. I'm just following what you, yeah, good. Yeah, no problem, Sylvie. Do we have software to automatically recreate web pages from expired domains? No. What video 3 was going to be about was my source for domains, like one of my really good sources where I actually found a lot of domains, but the source changed. Number one, I actually stopped myself from shooting that video because the source was so unknown and so limited in what you could find on it that if I showed a bunch of people that source, then I would have really shot myself in the foot. So that's the real reason I never shot the 3rd video, because I could only find like 1 or 2 domains every week. But then they went ahead and changed it anyways. I'll tell you this, guys, for finding the source of domains, I would just use anything and everything available to you. But the good thing about these videos, they don't teach you how to find the domains. They teach you how to analyze the domains that you find, which I believe is more important anyways. You have to know what makes a good PBN versus what makes a shit PBN. Because you don't want to buy crap, and even if you're going to rent links, you don't want to rent crap. So these 2 videos will teach you so much about how to analyze a domain to be used for a PBN, and I think that's more important than where to find them. Because once you know how to analyze a domain, Google will help you to, like, okay, where to buy PBNs, or all the domain aggregator tools out there that are there. You can use those, and you'll just have a good core fundamental understanding of what makes good PBN domains and shit like that. Any other questions, guys? Looks like we're getting pretty down to the end here. Hopefully you guys learned a few things again about V3. Anybody on the webinar not own V3 yet, by the way, give me a 1 if you do not own V3. I just always like to, because we're putting these videos out just to everyone. Like anyone can come and learn about V3, and it's going to help with the buying decision, I think. For people to really see what's it capable of. Because if you can imagine, how do I create a sales page that conveys everything that this product does without being a 14-page sales video? Like, it's just crazy, right? So we're opening up these webinars to the general public. So Paul, hopefully you learned a lot, seeing as you're the one that gave me the one there. Keith, is it okay to use Spider Spanker and Paul Clifford's product on the same site, or would that be overkill? Todd's gone right now, Keith. So I'm not. You might have to just message Todd personally to ask him that. Walt says go outside and play hockey. Way too cold for me to go outside. I hate it. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Paul says he definitely wants to pick up V3. See, that's why we do these webinars, so people can be a lot more informed than just a general sales page. Great session. Thanks, Kevin. All right, guys, I guess I'll end it at that, and I'll upload the replay, and then I'll post the link in the Facebook group for Project Supremacy. Okay, and then what I'll do, just so it's easier on you guys, is I'll create a new file in Project Supremacy that has a list to all the replays. Because this is only the second one, by the way. So there's only going to be 2 links in there, but it'll be at least a place where you can get them. And then I'll think about smart places to put them, like inside the app or something. But I want them accessible to everyone. So I might even do it on the Project Supremacy homepage. So, but either way, I'll let you guys know where it's going so that you can come back and rewatch.
I'm back.
You're back, and now I'm just about to leave.
All right. Is that all of the questions?
I think so.
Keith, answer to your question is I don't know. I suppose you could just try it out and see what happens there using Spider Spanker with Paul Clifford's product. I don't know. I need to get a copy of that. I know Paul pretty well. Check it out. All right, guys, I guess that is a wrap. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Herc, for doing another great job of twisting and tweaking on your computer there. And we will see some of you, most of you, next week. Maybe some new folks. It's kind of a small crowd today. I think we might do a little bit of mailing, so don't get too PO'd at us if we hit your inbox with some come join us for these webinars, because we do feel that they are very informative, and you never know what's going to come out of us at any time, and sometimes there's just some really, really good stuff that I know can help you in your online marketing game. So we will be mailing a little bit more heavily about people getting their butts to these webinars, because we know that they're good normally. So thank you guys once again, and we will see you all next week. Thanks, Art. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.